I am Talicia Da Poet, and that's pretty much it. From like, you want the whole introduction?
Yeah, tell me about yourself.
Oh, okay. I moved here to Tampa in 2010 from Quincy, Florida, which is right outside of Tallahassee. Got into poetry probably uh, after being here maybe like 6 years or so is when I started performing. Like, I've always written, but as far as performing it, um, so yeah, it's pretty much it.
Okay. What is it that you love about poetry?
Um, One thing I like about poetry, because it gives you a platform where you can pretty much say what you've been wanting to say and what a lot of people want to say or what they're feeling. So it's a really good platform to start speaking. A lot of my poems started out as things I used to write in my journal. And then when you realize that so many people around you relate to what you're going through and what you're dealing with, and you're not the only one, it makes it easier to speak about it and talk about it. So I really like that. Poetry is something, it's almost, you can kind of get into a character and get on stage and say things that you might not say in a regular conversation, and then it can still be received from a crowd that's relating to exactly what you're saying.
Let's go. Um, did you all have like a hard time like relating to people? Is that like why you kind of gravitated towards the
Um,
platform?
no, I don't think I had a hard time relating to people. I think with me, I do have a hard time with opening up to people. Like, I think I'm kind of on the friendly side. Like, I'll talk in like general conversation, like that doesn't bother me. But as far as like getting deep into feelings or just different things like that, I'm kind of like, nah, I'm good. But poetry, I can say things, I can talk about things, and people are like, okay. So they're kind of like a conversation starter for me. Um, yeah, they're a conversation starter. It makes it easier.
So it kind of takes out that awkwardness.
Yeah, yeah, definitely takes out the awkwardness.
Okay. What got you started into poetry?
Like I said, writing in my journal was something I've done since like middle school, and then when I got to like probably like in middle school or high school, I seen like a little bit of poetry and poets or whatever, which sparked the interest. But it was nothing that I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. I was just like, that's cool, I like it. I write in my journal too, but okay. And then once I got to Tampa and started being around a different crowd and finding out different events and stuff, then it was one day I actually let one of my guy friends read like a poem or two I wrote in my journal. And he was like, why are you hiding this? And I was just like, I don't know. And we looked on my calendar, we picked a date, and was like, this is the day you're going to go to the open mic and you're going to perform. And I was like, okay. And got on open mic, and it went good. And then a couple, maybe like a year or two, I did a poem, put it on social media on Facebook, and it, I guess you say, went viral or whatever. Like, it just blew up, and I was like, okay, people relate to this, people like this, and I like doing it. Like, I didn't realize, I guess just from writing, I didn't realize how much I actually like performing, how much I like being on stage. So then once I started performing and being on stage, I was like, okay, I like this. So it just feels good because I like it, and then like I say, people relate to it, people like it, so that's just like a win-win.
Okay, that's cool. Um, how would you say that you got uh, involved with the poetry community?
Just being around, I started going to I think my first poetry event, I forgot what it was called. It was something that they did at USF when I was at USF, and I went there, and there were like a couple poets there. I remember Daytime Poet. That was my first time seeing him, and he was there, and I was just like, this man so dope. Like, who is that? And so then after that, I kind of just, I think I like followed him on social media, and then I came out. I did came to Black on Black Rhyme, did Smoking Words, and so it's more like once you learn like the events and stuff, just networking, talking, and then like I said, when I start performing, and people would hit me up, so just became like a whole like I'm in the community now. I'm like, okay, this is cool. It's so cool.
Um, how do you feel like you've benefited from it?
Um, Definitely, like I said, it's definitely an outlet. So I find like I took a probably not a year, but close to a year. I took like a year, close to a year off from writing. And my cousin that produces like my albums and my music, and he plays with me when I perform, he was like, you need to write. And I found that I when I write now, like I have to go into like a place of my feelings, a place into emotions. So it's really like an outlet. Like he was like, even if you don't perform, even if you don't let nobody hear this, you need to write it. And so I really, it's really has been like an outlet. It's been a go-to. The things that you don't want to tell your friends, or you just don't want to talk about it, you can just write it. And it helps me whether I perform it or not. Like I could write it, put it in my journal, and never touch it again, but it feels better. So yeah, it's really like it's therapy. It's therapy.
Do you say you hold on to things, and that's why the release being on stage is so great, or is it more like you just it's just the act of being able to say something when is it just a thrill, or is it more of an emotional release?
It's both. It's both. Cause like I said, I love being on stage. I like the thrill of being on stage. I like the feeling that the crowd is accepting what I'm saying, or they're relating to what I'm saying, or and then as far as like sometimes like I have one poem that every time I do it I cry. But I needed that poem. Like I needed to say those things. I needed to write those things. And so it's definitely both. It's definitely a thrill of being on stage and enjoying that, and it's definitely an outlet for different things that I may want to talk about. But like I said, that's why I say it's a conversation starter. So
Cool. Um, since you become a celebrity, where would you feel that you found your poetic voice? Where do you feel like you found that?
you mean like a specific place, or like you mean like was it a poem or
Was it a time period? Was it a specific event? Was it a place that you found it? Was it a place inside yourself that you found it? Where did you find it?
um I think I think what really like icing on the cake that was like, okay, you probably should dig deeper into this, is when I put that poem on social media and it like blew up. I was like, I don't, that's why they say things happen for a reason. And I was like 40K or something like that short of like a million views. And I actually deleted it by accident. I deleted it by accident and I was so hurt. But I think that's why everything happened for a reason. I don't think at that time I was ready for whatever was about to happen. And so I think that's how I mistakenly deleted it. But anyways, so my voice was like I said, once it went viral, then I was like, okay, cool. That's when I knew people were accepting it. So it wasn't just like I thought it was cool. My little friends, my little circle thought it was cool. It was starting to be everyone. So I was like, okay, cool, let's do something. And so then I got really comfortable performing at Smoking Words, and then they kind of just took me under their wing, like Nova, all of them. They kind of just took me under their wing like their little baby. So that was that felt good. So I was able to move and perform, and I think I found my voice after that poem went viral, and just getting comfortable at an open mic, and I was like, okay, this is definitely one thing that I should be doing. Yeah.
Do you think finding that home was the catalyst for you to really that kind of really inspire that inspiration that really make a feeling of accepted within?
Definitely, because I think, like, as much as people don't probably want to admit it, like they feel like, oh, I can do this and I don't care what people say. At the end of the day, we need some type of validation. We need some type of, like, yeah, you did good. I like that. So finding that home and that circle, that support system, that circle that's like, nah, you good. You got this. Let me do this. So it was, and then, like I say, networking. So for someone to come up to me and be like, hey, I heard you at this event and I told so and so about you, and they're going to reach out to you. It's like, okay. Like, so, because a lot of times, like, things that we do, of course, we think we good. We think we sound good. We think we look good. We this, that, and the third. So when other people see what you see in yourself, a lot of people say they don't need that validation. You do. And it feels good when you get it. So, yeah.
Good stuff. Who would you say is your biggest inspiration?
In life or poetry?
Oh, let's go both.
Okay. Poetry. Honestly, my biggest inspiration is my cousin. He goes by Zion, and he like I said, he's my producer. He's the person that performs with me. This man is, first of all, he is a musical genius. But he's in his room or he's in the studio, and that's it. So I keep him close to me a lot at shows, at events. I keep him close to me to bring him out. But even though he's behind the scenes like that, he's the reason why this 14-track album that's coming out, it's him. Like, he came to me and was like, no, this is what you need to do. Like, he stays on me. He pushes me. And then I look at him and his talent, and I see all that he does. And I'm just like, yeah, you got something. You need to do something with it. But I feel like I have to push myself, and I have to go harder so I can keep him close to me. So, like, whether he knows it or not, he's like a big inspiration. And like, even times if I be like, I'm not performing no more, I'm just gonna write, I'm just gonna go back to putting this in my journal, he's like, nah, that's not what you're doing. And so I be like, okay. And like, even this whole 14 track, because I did the EP that was like 7 tracks, and then so I tried to short this one. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like remake everything that was on the EP and do like a little remix and make it a 10 track instead of 7 track. He was like, no, you're going to do it all different, and it's going to be 14 tracks. And I'm just like, that was something I would have never, like, done on my own. But he pushed me to do it. So, poetry-wise and, like, my art-wise, it definitely would be him. And I don't even think he, like, realized how much he is, like, my inspiration. And then family-wise, like, just my life in general, I mean, it sounds cliche, but it's going to be my mom. Like, it is my mother. My mother has showed me she is the epitome of a strong, black, independent woman. But at the same time, her showing me that and being so strong and being so independent and, you know, doing everything by herself. Recently, probably like a year or so ago, her and my dad got back together after not being together for over 20 years. Got back together, got married. So it's like, to see this strong, black, independent woman still be madly in love and can be submissive to her husband, it's like, okay. Like, All right, cool. So she's always been an inspiration in my life, but like the past year or so, like seeing her and my dad back together and her being in her wife role, it's just like, okay, mama, I'm trying to I'm trying to be like you. And like a couple months ago, she was like, I see so much of myself in you, and it was just like that's like the biggest compliment ever for my mama to be like, she sees so much of her in me. It's like, okay, I'm doing something right. So that would definitely, in life in general, definitely would be my mom.
You say you're a mama's girl?
Um, I thought I was a mama's girl up until about a year ago when my dad came back and now here my mom's married. I am so much like my father. And I am such a daddy's girl. Like such a daddy's girl. So I'm very equally split down the middle because I've been a mama's girl for the past, how old am I, 27. So my dad came back when I was 26. Him and my mom got back together when I was 26, 25. So yeah, so for the past 25 years I've been a whole mom's girl, but now it's like, okay, dad, your turn. So I am perfectly split down the middle. I can be your mommy's girl, but then I can definitely be a daddy's girl.
What would you say is one of your biggest like milestones in poetry as of right
Um, Besides the poem going like on social media and stuff, I think the other milestone would have been when I created t-shirts. When that poem went viral, I created t-shirts. And the first batch of t-shirts was like 50. They sold out. So then I was like, okay. So I did another 50. Those sold out. And they sold out not just in Florida, not just in Georgia. Like they were on social media. I was shipping stuff to like California, Ohio, and I'm just like, these people don't know me from a can of paint, but they want this shirt. And then like I would send the shirt and I would send like the EP or a poem with it or whatever. And I think that's when I realized, like, I mean, if I didn't think I had something, that was the moment I was like, okay, yeah, you got something. So that was definitely just because, of course, people like, for a person to listen to your poem, I think, okay, cool. Like, to share it on Facebook, okay, cool. For them to comment on Facebook or social media, okay, cool. But for them to be like, nah, I need a shirt. I need you to send me this. I'm going to pay you for it. It's like, okay, you want a little more. Like, cool. So selling those shirts did it. And then the whole, when I did the EP, because it was like on iTunes and all that kind of stuff. So when that went out and I seen that people were, trying to get that or whatever, that was definitely a milestone in the poetry.
now? That's what's up. I told you you was a celebrity.
I'm not a celebrity.
You got folk all over the world trying to buy these t-shirts.
It's because of what they said. They probably didn't even pay attention until after they got the poem. Then they was like, oh, this is why.
What was on the shirt?
So the shirt said, keep giving head.
Okay, what does head represent?
But head is, I have it broken down on the shirt. The poem's head is high energy and dopeness. So, and then I have a poem. And the poem head is like about it's like a sapiosexual poem. So it's more like, I'm saying I'm gonna give you head, but I'm saying I'm finna tell you this knowledge that I know. We finna exchange knowledge. You finna tell me what you know. I'm finna tell you what I know, and that's what we gonna do. So it was a cool little turn to it because people see the shirt and like, keep giving head, and some people ask about it, or some people go with whatever they think it is. And then, but the people that ask about it, then when they ask me about it, they're like, oh, okay. Or I'm like, no, it's a poem. I got a poem. And then they hear the poem, like, okay. So then it just gives it like even more meaning to the shirt. Like my mom has this joke. She's like, I never would have thought that there would be a day that I'll be like, give them head, baby. Like it just be so funny because I just be like, Because people don't know what she be talking about. Like, my mom come to my shows. My mom and my dad, they come to my shows. They wear my t-shirts and stuff. So at first people are like, keep giving head. Like, what are you talking about? Or like, if my mom is at a show, I'll talk to her in the crowd. So like, I might be like, okay, I don't know what poem I'm going to do next. But like, Mom, you think I should give him some head? And she'll be like, yeah, give him some head, baby. So the crowd just be like, what in the world is her mama talking about? Then when I do the poem, they're like, oh, okay, I see. So it'd be cool. I like wordplay. Wordplay's fun.
Wordplay is fun?
Yeah.
I got you. My bad.
Oh.
What is your process for writing your poetry?
I don't have one specific process. That's why I be feeling like it really has to be a gift, because sometimes it just comes to me. It comes to me. It could be a word in a song I heard. It can be the quote of the day that came through on my emails at work, or it can be something I'm dealing with in life and I'd be like, okay, I need to write about it. So I've created poems at work. I've created poems in the shower. Like, I do not have a specific place at all. Like, some of my poems, I wrote them first and then went back and learned them. Some of them I have said them and then I have to write them like as they're coming in my head. Like, I already know them. I gotta write them. So I have no specific way of writing. It just happens. It just happens.